Okay, so we're starting our 5-week spirit group study, and this is based on the book Daring Greatly by Brene Brown, who is a PhD. And so the 5-week is that I'm going to be talking about this book for this 5-week period on Sunday mornings. And then those of you who would like to go a little bit deeper with it, we have groups that you can join through today. And they meet in different places at different times, and you can sign up. There's still places to sign up if you would like to do that. Now, Brene, I don't know if she still is, but she was a research professor at the University Houston Graduate College of Social Work. And she's the author of 3 other books. The Gifts of Imperfection, I Thought It Was Just Me, and then her most recent book is Rising Strong, I think is Rising Strong. And so I want to say a huge thank you to Unity of Overland Park, because they are so great about sharing their materials with us, and they did this as a small group, and they've shared the materials with us for our small group. So we appreciate they model such generosity for us. So why did we even choose this book to begin with? Well, our mission is to encourage and inspire spiritual and personal growth by empowering each other to be authentically all that we came here to be. And so we inspire and we encourage spiritual and personal growth. And Unity used to be called Practical Christianity. And I really like that, because it's so important for us to know that there are practical things that we can be doing in our lives to help us live the life that we are here to live in the most brilliant way that we can live it. And then, just moving into authenticity, I really believe that this book is one of the books, as well as the Gifts of Imperfection, that is going to help us move into that greater state of authenticity. Now, I believe that we have come into this world and we have come forth from the pure essence of God, from the pure essence of the divine. That is our reality. That is who and what, that's what we are. And we say there's only one presence and one power. It's God, the good. And you could put love in place of that. There's only one presence and one power, and it is love. And so we have come forth as this expression of God, as this expression of love. But many times what happens in our lives is that we get programmed, as we know, with all these other things, and we start comparing ourselves, and I feel like we just start putting layers of stuff on our authenticity. And so this book is going to really help us to peel away some of those layers. And part of the way that we will do this is through what Brene Brown talks about a lot, is through vulnerability. She said, authenticity is a collection of choices that we have to make every day. It's about the choice to show up and be real, the choice to be honest, the choice to let our true selves be seen. Whoa, that's pretty big, huh? And, in this work, I want to say that, when it says it's about the choice to show up and to be real, to be honest, to let our true selves be seen, I believe that there's a difference between saying, well, this is my authentic being. I have a short temper. I'm impatient. I'm a shopaholic. I'm a procrastinator. This is my true authenticity. And I'm going to tell you, those are excuses. That is not your true authenticity. So I'm not supporting anybody here today in being that. I am supporting us in letting go of those things and getting real with who we truly are, getting real with our feelings, getting real with what is going on inside of us. Every single one of us here has stories. Every single one of us has stories. And it amazes me how over and over again, I will hear somebody say, I felt like I was the only one, because we don't talk about it. We don't let ourselves be seen. And yet every single person on the face of this planet has gone, or will be going through something, and we've done it over and over and over again. And I know that when I'm going through something and somebody shares their story with me and they're kind of on the other side of it, I'm so grateful, because it gives me that place of hope, or it makes me feel like I'm not alone. So a lot of this has to do with just letting ourselves be seen in our And it's not that we're going to go to every person we see and tell our story. That's not what it's about either. Because people are going to have to, quote unquote, earn the right to hear your story, in the sense that they will be trustworthy to hear your stories. It's not about going and telling everybody everything that's going on with you. Okay. Anita Moorjani, I talked about her last week from her book, Dying to Be Me. She had a near-death experience. And one of the big things that Anita came back with was how important it is for us to show up as who we are. And the whole dying to be me was that she felt that she had gotten cancer, and she was like, it was no hope, quote unquote. And so she had this near-death experience, and she recognized in this near-death experience that she was living under all of these rules, and she was trying to be the perfect mother and the perfect wife and the perfect daughter and the perfect employee and perfect, and she wasn't being her true self. And we cannot be that perfect person for anyone, can we? We can't be, because we can't. The only perfection is when we are being authentically ourselves. That's the only perfection, because we will literally die trying to be what everybody wants us to be in life, correct? Yeah. And so she got this huge message that, it is so important for us to have this love affair with ourselves and to fall in love with our magnificence and to be us, to be real. And again, to move into this place of vulnerability. Now, Brene was really moved by the speech from Theodore Roosevelt from April 23rd, 1910, and this is what it was. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly. And she said that in her years of research, now remember that Brene was a research professor. Research is her thing, and that's why I love her work so much. But she said in over a decade of her research on vulnerability that this is the very lesson that research had taught her. So her definition of daring greatly is the courage to be vulnerable, to show up and be seen, to ask for what you need, to talk about how you're feeling, and to have the hard conversations. Just nothing, right? Look at that. To show up and really be seen, and to ask for what you need, and to talk about how you're feeling. Oh my goodness. Women, we're pretty good at that. But men, you've been taught. Our society has said, men, you shouldn't be talking about your feelings. And you certainly should not be showing your feelings, and don't cry. Oh my gosh. And that's not okay. That's not okay, because you cannot be real. You're not being real if you're not able to express that. It's who you are. And then have the hard conversations. And you know how we do all that? By going up to the top one. With the courage to be vulnerable. And we're going to talk more about vulnerability next week. But she does go on to say that vulnerability is not weakness, and the uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure we face every day are not optional. Our only choice is on the question of engagement. So every day we may face things like, having to stand up for a coworker or for somebody that we see not being treated fairly, or we may have to stand in an opinion that is not the popular opinion. We're vulnerable when we get behind the wheel of a car. We're vulnerable when we're just out in the world. We're vulnerable every day. And she goes on to say that our willingness to own and engage with our vulnerability determines the depth of our courage and the clarity of our purpose. The level to which we protect ourselves from being vulnerable is a measure of fear and disconnection. And so opportunities come up for us every day for us to choose authenticity over fear. Because it is fear that keeps us from being authentic. Because if I'm authentic, you may judge me. And gosh, then you won't like me and you may not even want to be around me. And so it's easier for me just to put this on and to just try to be the person that you want me to be. And then you accept me. But is that real? Is that who you came here to be? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And so this journey is so important for all of us, men and women alike. This is so important for all of us because women, we put up a lot of things, and we've been taught that too. We've been taught how to be the perfect woman, how to dress, how to think, how to speak, how to feel. We've been taught how to be that perfect woman that society has told us that we should be. And so to me, this is a really great opportunity for us to start peeling back those layers of who we are not, so that who we are is what is presented to the world around us. And it's going to take courage. It's going to take courage. But it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Okay, so Brene starts out by talking about scarcity and looking inside the culture of never enough. And here's the thing that I recognize about the idea of scarcity. And scarcity is that place, again, it's not enough. So in our own selves, that sense of not enoughness, because we're comparing ourselves or we're trying to be something, whatever it is, leads us to a place of unworthiness. And do you know where that leads us to? It leads us to a place of settling. It does lead to shame, but to a place of settling in our lives. And we settle in relationships. We settle in our jobs. We settle in just our life experience. And I've seen a lot of people who have just settled in their lives, who they're, it's almost like they're not even, well, they're not. When you're settling, you're not engaged. And there's a difference between being content and happy in your life and settling and not even being engaged in your life. And so Brene said that after doing this work for 12 years and watching scarcity ride roughshod over our families, organizations, and communities, the one thing that we have in common, she says, is that we're sick of feeling afraid. And I love that. And she also said, and I thought this was just especially for today, we want to dare greatly. We're tired of the national conversation centering on what should we fear and who should we blame. Aren't you tired of it? It's us. It's up to us to start living in integrity with who we have come here to be and letting ourselves be that, bright, brilliant beam of radiant light that we were created to be. It's us. We are the ones who have to do that. So she shares, and I think this is interesting too, that because of our cultural messaging, that an ordinary life can seem meaningless. And I think the majority of us really like ordinary lives. There are some people who like big lives, but what we see is we see big lives. We see celebrities, and we get on Facebook and Twitter and all these things, and ultimately we begin measuring ourselves by how many likes we get on Facebook, and that kind of brings our worth up, and we see that we're valued, and that's not where your worth is at. So she asked the question of her participants. She said, fill in the blank. Maybe not. Can we pop one ahead on the... Okay. Never something enough. And so here's some of the things. Never good enough, perfect enough, thin enough, powerful enough, successful enough, smart enough, certain enough, safe enough, extraordinary enough. We live in this scarcity culture. So I want to share with you what Lynn Twist says about a scarcity. She's the author of The Soul of Money. And I'm going to read this, and I've shared this before, but this pinged with me so many times. No matter who we are or what our circumstance, we swim in conversations about what there isn't enough of. Our first waking thought of the day is, I didn't get enough sleep. I don't have enough time. Whether true or not, that thought of not enough occurs to us automatically before we even think to question or examine it. We spend most of the hours and the days of our lives hearing, explaining, complaining, or worrying about what we don't have enough of. We don't have enough time. We don't have enough rest. We don't have enough exercise. We don't have enough work. We don't have enough profits. We don't have enough power. We don't have enough wilderness. We don't have enough days in the month. And of course, we don't have enough money ever. We're not thin enough. We're not smart enough. We're not pretty enough or fit enough or educated or successful enough or even rich enough. Before we even sit up in bed, before our feet even touch the floor, we're already inadequate, already behind, already losing, already lacking something. Scarcity as a chronic sense of inadequacy about life becomes the very place from which we think and act and live in the world. It shapes our deepest sense of ourselves and becomes the lens through which we experience life. And boy, I'll tell you, that pinged with me because I thought about how many times I'm like, I didn't get enough sleep last night. Or, oh my gosh, there's just not enough hours in the day to get everything done that I need to get done. Or how many of us relate to any of that? Yeah, I'm thinking everybody's hand should be up and it's just getting a hold of it. We've got to recognize it. We've got to become aware of it, and before we can even begin to change it. And that's so important because it's that old programming. It's that stuff that just keeps going in our subconscious mind. Stuff is creative. It's powerful. So we have to get a hold of it. Now, Brene says that the opposite of scarcity is not abundance, but that the opposite of scarcity is what she calls wholeheartedness. And this is being fully engaged in your life. And it's understanding that you have value and sharing that value because you know that you're worthy, because you know that you're worthy. So I was thinking about Jesus' ministry and how, Jesus went around and he was really reminding everybody that there's always more than enough, that they are enough and that they're worthy. And so, the feeding of the 5,000 and there's not enough, and he's showing them that there's more than enough. Or when he's going around and he's working with people to heal them. And he's essentially saying there's more than enough healing energy here for you and you're worthy of it. You are enough. Pick up that mat. Pick up that, whatever it is that you have been laying on for 30 years, whatever those thoughts are, pick that up and go someplace else. Because as long as you stay there, you're going to stay in that same thing. And you can complain. And you can say, poor me. But nobody can do it for you. And he said, you are the one. You have that power within you to do that, to do something, to own your worth and your value, to own your magnificence as a being on this planet, to own that this life, my friends, this life is an incredible gift that we have. And it's a gift that we have the opportunity to use in a way that makes a positive difference in the world around us. It is no longer okay for us to sit and to blame. You're going to see a blaming video in just a little bit. It's no longer okay to do that, to look at the world outside of us and to say this is wrong and this is wrong, because it's up to us to get so authentic with ourselves and to live from this wholehearted place that it literally raises the vibration in people around us. And they start waking up because we woke up. And they're asking now, and then other people start waking up, and it's this wonderful ripple effect. But we have to keep doing it. And we can't give up. We have to stay with it. So I want to share with you what Brene has for Kathy, can you pop that for me? Thank you. The 10 guideposts for wholehearted living. Now, these are simple, easy things for us to do. Number 1. Cultivating authenticity. Letting go of what people think. Isn't that the easiest thing in the world to do? Wow. This is nothing, you guys. You've got this. Number 2, cultivating self-compassion. Letting go of perfectionism. Anybody? Number 3, cultivating a resilient spirit. Letting go of numbing and powerlessness. Getting out of that place where you feel powerless over certain things in your life, or the numbing can be sitting on the couch watching too much TV all day, or going shopping or drinking or doing drugs. There's a lot of things that can numb us. Number 4, cultivating gratitude and joy. Letting go of scarcity and fear of the dark. That no matter where you're at in your life today, that you're not focused on the scarcity. And that you're not afraid of what is going to happen, but that you move into that faith and you start looking. We've talked about this for weeks. And be in gratitude for the abundance, because we are immersed in abundance. There's so much that is going right for us every day. And to start looking at that. Number 5, cultivating intuition and trusting faith. Letting go of the need for certainty. Bum, 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 bum. Because the reality, my friends, is there is no certainty in life. Life changes. And boy, that puts us in a vulnerable state, doesn't it? But it's true. And so letting go of the need for certainty and being in the presence of the day and the joy of the day. How many of us pre-pain and take present joy out of today's experience over something that hasn't even happened? We worry ahead. And we're missing today. This is good. Number 7, cultivating play and rest. Letting go of exhaustion as a status symbol and productivity as self-worth. Can I get an amen? Because you know what? We have been taught in our society, work hard, work hard, work hard. The person who puts in 80 hours a week, they're the ones that get ahead. And, you're praised for that. And you don't have a family life and you don't have a life. No. Let go of that. Number 8, cultivating calm and stillness. Letting go of anxiety as a lifestyle. I've had to really work on this in my life. And I've had to make the time and the space to just power down. Because that anxiety is not good for us. Number 9, cultivating meaningful work. Letting go of self-doubt and supposed to. Letting go of those doubts that are saying, I can't, I'll never make it in this, or, I can't do this. And then letting go of the supposed tos. How many of us have found ourselves doing things that, we kind of just has felt obligated to do because our family did it or they wanted us to do it. It's letting go of that. And number 10, cultivating laughter, song, and dance. Letting go of being cool and always in control. So here's the thing. Music is universal. It is universal. People, we love music. And how many of us, when we hear music, we start to get a little bit of a groove in our body, just a little bit. How many of us, it's kind of an immediate. And in our having to stay cool and not being vulnerable to what anybody think, we just kind of do this, And it's interesting because I get to look out at y'all every week, and then we got some rockin' songs going on. I can't not move. I've got to move. And I can tell you want to move. I can see it. But it's like, I got to stay cool. So I'm just going to do this because, oh my God, if I moved, what would people think? Because or I can't dance. I can't. Yes, you can. You can move. You can dance. But, so look at that and look at areas of your life where, you're just being cool, always in control. These are so important for us. And so what I want to encourage us to do is to think about, and I'm going to ask you just to pick 1, 2 at the most to focus on for these 5 weeks of what it is that you're ready to dare greatly in. Now, it may not be any of these 10, but these 10 are going to help us to let go of those layers and open ourselves up to being a little bit more vulnerable. But it may be that you're ready to dare greatly in a goal, something that you're ready to do, and that's great too. But I really want to encourage you to focus during this 5 weeks on this. Now, you could say, you know what I'm going to dare greatly on is I'm going to let go of what people think. And so it's not that you're going to step out of here and, man, you're not caring what anybody thinks anymore. You're just walking around and everything's cool and, yeah, I'm good. No, you're going to find situations where you're going to be awake and aware enough to catch yourself when you're pulling back because you care what somebody thinks more than you care about your own authenticity. And you're going to breathe. And sometimes you're going to step into it, and sometimes you're not. That's okay. Awareness is the first key. And so on any of these, letting go of perfectionism, letting go of numbing, letting go of scarcity, letting go of the need for certainty, letting go of comparison. But you make the decision, this is what I'm daring greatly in, and I'm going to be awake and aware. And I'm going to start making different choices. And I'm going to let myself be so uncomfortable in my uncomfortableness. But I can tell you from personal experience that it only gets better. And life only gets better as we decide to show up, as we decide to be real with each other and open and honest and connected with each other, as we decide to give each other that space to be that without judging. It only gets better. And so this is what I want to encourage you to do this week, is to pick one or two or something else and know that this is what I'm daring greatly in, because I am so ready to be my authentic self. Don't you feel sometimes like there's like another being in there just going, I'm here, let me out. And it's time for that expression to come out. And so I want to invite us to, I think it's a couple slides ahead. Maybe, Kathy, can you pop me again? And one more? That's it. Okay, I'm going to invite us to share in this affirmation together. And I'm going to invite us to have some power to it, okay? Okay, ready? Together. I dare greatly to be authentically all that I came here to be by letting my big, bright, brilliant beam of radiant light shine. And so it is. And I am seeing each of you in your authenticity, and I am supporting you in that expression. And namaste. Namaste.